Hi, it's Christy here. What I want to talk to you about today is about what to do with somebody's stuff when they've died. If you still have their belongings to sort out, if you're still responsible for that. Now, first thing to know is that I can only offer you advice on this if you're on a healing path. If you're not trying to cope with grief, manage grief, deal with grief, that's not your ultimate outcome. If you are absolutely wanting to get to a place where you heal completely from grief, and that's the path you're on, then this advice applies, and you'll understand why when I get into explaining it. But I'm going to assume anyway, if you're here talking to me, then that's what you were looking for. You've gone out looking for healing from grief. So firstly, what's that about, this whole issue with what do I do with this stuff? How do I get rid of this stuff? Should I get rid of it? And I think what happens is we all really live in a society where we have quite a strong relationship with stuff. You know what I mean? People can identify it very strongly. Our identities can get tied up in stuff that we own, our clothes, our homes, our furniture, things that we have. We can strongly identify with those. And then what can happen when someone dies is because we feel a disconnection from them, and just on the side, the death does not create that disconnection, it's grief. Your grief is what gets in the way of the connection. So when you feel completely disconnected, it's the grief that's doing that, not the fact that they're no longer physically present. So the grief gets in the way, creates this massive disconnection from them, and then what can happen is you attach to what you feel you have left, their stuff, and their stuff can take on this whole new meaning. Their comb or brush, their clothes, the room they were in, the bed they slept in, the books they read, the things they touched, suddenly become that much more meaningful because you can feel like, or some people can feel like, that's what you have left. You're kind of grasping on to anything that you have left because you no longer feel a connection to them that may have felt before that stuff didn't have the same meaning. Now, it can be very different for people, because I know my experience was totally different. When I went through the 6 deaths in 4 months, and the first one being my dad, one of the outcomes for me is that it completely changed my relationship with stuff forever. Like, stuff was meaningless to me after those 4 months. Even my own stuff, I developed this addiction with just throwing things away. It just felt heavy. I just threw away so much. So I didn't relate to stuff anymore around identity. It just felt like a burden. And so I had no energy or relationship around it when my mum was donating all of my dad's stuff, which she felt comfortable doing really quickly. But not everybody has this experience. Some people can really go the opposite direction, as I was talking about, and have this huge attachment to stuff and real problem around what to do with the stuff. And my answer, and this is why I say I can really only advise you if you're on a path to healing from grief, my answer is to wait. If you're on a path to healing from grief, wait until you've done that work, whatever the work is that you're doing. Wait until you've completed your work, until you've healed, because then you're not going to have the energy around this. You're not going to have the same attachment to the stuff. You're not going to need it. When I am working with clients, and they'll often be asking me at the beginning, well, I've got to clean out the rooms, and I'll often say, put it off. If you can, put it off. Obviously, some circumstances you can't, and we'll get to those. But if you can wait, then wait. There's no sense necessarily forcing yourself into that situation. Whereas once you've healed, once you feel totally different about this death, once you don't have the same energy or disconnection anymore, it's going to be easier for you to know what it is you want to do, when you want to do it, and it'll be a far, far easier process to go through. So that is my main piece of advice would be to wait until you're ready for that. If, though, you have to deal with this stuff, maybe it's a parent and you are now responsible for their house and you need to clear out the house to be sold. Maybe it was a room in your own house, and you need to clear that out for someone else. But you're in a position where you can't wait. You do need to. You really do need to. You'll have to get that done now. Then do what you can to lighten that up. So I think often people going in expecting the worst, your expectations are huge. They will create your reality. They go in expecting the worst. They go in feeling crap before they've even started, and they go in alone and push themselves through it. If you have to clean out somebody's room and their belongings, firstly, start the day off with as much self-love stuff as you can squeeze in, whatever that looks like for you. And it could be anything wildly different, from meditation to start your day, or your favorite TV show, or a bit of exercise, or a bit of your favorite book, or sitting down, watch the sun come up. It's different for everyone, but start your day with as much self-love as you can squeeze into that to really set you up well for the day. And then, if it's comforting for you, have someone there with you. You don't have to go through that alone. Have a friend, someone you're comfortable with, who's going to be there with you, not to tell you what to do, but maybe just there as support. Someone who can lighten the mood for you, someone who you can listen to music with or joke with while you do it. It doesn't have to be this kind of pressure cooker of an environment. Just do what you can to support yourself through that process if you have to do it, because there is no right and wrong. Here's the time that you should be getting rid of this stuff. Here's the way that you should do it. Here's what you should get rid of and shouldn't get rid of. Ideally, you can wait until you're in a space where those answers just come naturally. But if you can't, as I was just saying, just make sure that you make that experience as easy as possible on yourself. Don't set it up, as many people do, to be this awful, awful experience, dreading the worst in the morning, going in alone, planning to do it for 14 hours of a day, even if, they're going to spend half the day miserable. Do whatever it is you can to support yourself through that. So I hope that was useful to you. You're welcome, of course, to add any thoughts and comments you have down below, and I look forward to seeing you soon.